Remember during the WNBA season? Oh my gosh, all the ratings, the record ratings, blah, 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 blah. But what did we say continuously here on this channel? Yeah, record ratings. Of course you guys are going to have record ratings. Nielsen changed how they count numbers. Of course their ratings are going to be more. It would be kind of embarrassing if they were that much less. Well, Sustainable Unrivaled, their numbers came out and they are.
For months, everything appeared flawless until the data suddenly started acting strange. That was the exact moment the cheering grew louder. The standards quietly became more flexible, and almost out of nowhere, a brand new way of tracking achievements emerged. Now there's an uncomfortable silence hanging in the air, one everyone seems determined to ignore. And that's the part that should make you pause. When an organization feels a need to reinvent how it measures its own success, the real question isn't what changed, but what it's hoping you won't connect on your own.
Could be seeing its final days as Paige Beckers and gang could not save the viewership from tanking. What does this mean for the WNBA when they make their return back to TV? We finna talk about it all. I told you guys a couple months ago that the views was going down on the channel. Like, the WNBA content wasn't looking too good. I was one of the first people to say that about the whole genre itself. Told y'all we was going to be making big time changes on the channel. Now, I say that to say this. Now, there has been news to come out about Unrivaled viewership being down nearly.
Everyone kept insisting Unrivaled had real staying power, a shining example of what women's basketball could become. It was supposed to be the operation that defied every trend, expanded its audience, and somehow kept convincing financiers to sign million-dollar checks, all while elite athletes dominated those pristine hardwood floors.
They say. Unrivaled is sustainable. They say. They say. Ratings have come out for Unrivaled, and folks, if I was to say fall off a cliff, if I was to say significant drop-off, I would be underselling how underperforming.
Opening night of Unrivaled actually delivered on everything they claimed it would be. They announced it, hyped it, and followed through with a level of certainty that made you want to go back and reread every detail twice. But if this whole thing truly had legs, why did the debut of the second season end up looking more like an abandoned parking lot, with only scattered debris rolling through?
So the first set of Unrivaled ratings are in, and it's been kind of grim. And by kind of grim, I mean really, really grim. If you are Unrivaled, this is, if these are your ratings every single week on True TV, it's not the biggest disaster in the world, because by the looks of things, these True TV ratings were similar enough to what they were a year ago. Similar enough to what...
The viewership data dropped, and calling it underwhelming would be like describing a massive tornado as a light breeze. These numbers didn't just decline. They crashed, went into free fall, smashed straight to the floor, and then politely asked permission before settling into the garbage pile of good intentions gone wrong.
Hella views to begin with. They wasn't even getting hella views at all last year. Now, this year, their views is down by nearly 70%. This is very bad. Now, towards the decline of the WNBA season, towards the end of the season, we start seeing the WNBA kind of fudge the numbers, taking into account group party watch party viewerships, counting those into, effect like bars and stuff.
Let me paint the picture for anyone who missed what happened earlier. The first season launched with serious momentum, huge viewership numbers, fans losing their minds, and experts confidently declaring that women's basketball had become permanent, unstoppable, and still expanding. The future looked brighter than those blinding arena spotlights. There was just one small problem. Those incredible ratings were almost too perfect. Nielsen had quietly changed its tracking methods, a shift that mysteriously inflated the numbers across the board. Suddenly, everything looked bigger, stronger, and more beloved than reality actually supported. It was like wearing shoes 2 sizes too big and convincing everyone they were custom-made for you. They might look impressive, but they fall apart the moment you try to walk. Fast forward to the second season, and the illusion cracked. Nearly 140,000 fewer people tuned in on Monday night. to watch professional basketball, a sharp reminder that momentum is often just another way of saying you caught a lucky break a year ago. Daytime matchups fared even worse, pulling only 107,000 viewers, a number that quietly suggests someone forgot to tell the public these games were even happening. And that's exactly what occurred. Plenty of supporters didn't realize Unrivaled had returned at all. A league can showcase the most talented athletes on the planet, but when no one knows the action is taking place, that talent doesn't move the needle.
And pretend basketball. I have been telling you guys for years, as the mainstream media has intentionally lied to us. These elite athletes are amazing! This is the best basketball in the world! Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes! We have been talking about this here on the channel for years. The so-called growth in women's basketball is an illusion.
The breakdown becomes even more brutal when you look at specific head-to-head matchups. Breeze Phantom pulled in about 40,000 viewers on TNT, while the Lunar Owls drew roughly 30,000 on TNT and another 20,000 on True TV. Even combined, a single matchup struggled to reach 50,000 viewers in a crucial 18 to 49 age range. For context, similar games last season were drawing between 90,000 and 100,000 viewers on TNT alone, before those numbers were multiplied across additional networks. In just 12 months, what once looked like an unstoppable movement turned into a cautionary tale about how quickly excitement fades when reality sets in. Networks hoping to secure profitable contracts or justify heavier spending on advertising and promotion are now staring at spreadsheets that read like underperforming social media posts. Peak viewing windows are shrinking, afternoon audiences barely register, and overall viewership sits well below projections.
The fact that the Rose and Lunar Owls on the primetime slot on TNT had, I don't think this is 40,000 viewers, because I think this is the NA is the actual viewer. I think this is like the ratings numbers. I think this is in and around 100,000 viewers, which isn't good. Last year it was, am I right in saying last year at 1.0? No, last year was 0.1.
The truth hits like watching someone wipe out face first on a live broadcast. Sudden, unavoidable, and impossible to ignore. It's a hard snap back to reality, back to the laws of physics, and back to the simple fact that no amount of sustainability branding can hide when the audience has vanished. A major driver of this collapse was publicity, or more accurately, the complete lack of it. The inaugural season rode a surge of social media buzz, carefully timed marketing, and the feeling that this was must-see viewing. The second season, by contrast, arrived with the presence of someone whispering during a thunderstorm. Fans weren't reminded, informed, or meaningfully encouraged to tune in, and it's fair to argue that league leadership forgot to tell its own audience that anything was even happening. What makes it worse is that the rating system was actually supposed to help. Nielsen is shifting toward a comprehensive data plus panel model ahead of the end of 2025. Blending traditional measurement with streaming data from connected TVs, outside sources, and nearly every available information stream tied to live sports. That system tends to inflate numbers, turning weak broadcasts into apparent successes, and giving networks the kind of metrics advertisers love. Early Unrivaled results suggested this change would be a boost, but even that couldn't mask what was really happening.
Are not good for season 2. That is, which is certainly no cause for celebration, but is cause for concern. When I say the first part, it's because I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of people racing to like rub it in and do like a and I'm rooting for Unrivaled success. I like the idea, the concept, the mission statement, and all of those things. But you also have to deal.
But even with that anticipated boost, Unrivaled's audience numbers barely moved. Connected TV data, expanded panels, and all the new tracking methods couldn't save a league that had effectively lost the very viewership it claimed was the foundation of its sustainability. The contradiction is almost perfect. This was a league introduced as cutting-edge, visionary, and built to last, yet it can't hold an audience for its biggest matchups. The numbers are brutally honest, telling a story of overconfidence, poorly handled promotion, and a fan base that either drifted away or never realized there was a second season to watch. Financial backers, the lifeline of any emerging league, are now almost certainly rethinking their commitments. The athletes themselves are talented, skilled, and fiercely competitive, but building compelling sports entertainment takes more than raw ability. It demands presentation, marketing, and consistent audience engagement. When fans don't show up in meaningful numbers, the league becomes a showcase of elite athleticism played out in near-empty seats. It's like preparing an incredible feast for an empty restaurant. Fantastic food, a supposedly sustainable model, and absolutely no customers placing orders.
And I put this out on the Twitter, and I mean, hell, the tweet didn't even get that much interaction. Look, the Unrivaled League is in all kinds of damn trouble. They're in all kinds of trouble. Don't you find it odd that the league and...
You can't ignore the obvious questions anymore, especially when comparisons make the situation impossible to downplay. In its first year, Unrivaled opened with average viewership north of 300,000. This season, primetime broadcasts are pulling around 75,000, while afternoon slots manage roughly 107,000. That isn't a gradual slide. It's a cliff. The supporters who once tuned in have vanished, and many never even realized the season had started again. The idea of a sustainable, expanding league now feels more like a narrative built for press releases than a reflection of reality. Any league can survive without record-breaking ratings, but it cannot survive without visibility, engagement, or a sense that its games matter to the broader public. The deeper issue is that even with the industry's most advanced measurement tools rolling out, Unrivaled continues to underperform. Nielsen's comprehensive data plus panel system, the same methodology expected to inflate numbers across nearly every major sport, won't magically rescue a league that has lost its audience. At that point, it becomes a simple math problem. The number of fans who supposedly exist versus the number who actually show up and press play. You can throw algorithms, smart TVs, and big data at the problem, but when no one is watching, the numbers don't lie, and they don't improve.